Hi guys, welcome to a episode on the channel, and today we're taking a look at my profile. So you can see on screen here my Instagram page, my collection, and the main topic I want to discuss is the barriers for collecting pre-modern and vintage. So for me, I collect in all eras, including modern, but it can be difficult to collect pre-modern and vintage. And there are a number of talking points I wanted to discuss, and the first one is it's really about access. A lot of these cards and stickers from older sets, we're getting into like some vintage territory, pre-modern, are difficult to source at times. Being from Australia, a lot of these cards you can't actually purchase within the country. You have to go overseas, and the same applies for if you're after maybe Brazilian cards or stickers. Maybe they're only exclusive to Brazil, having to source them from there, and sourcing stuff from Europe as well. So it's easier, I suppose, maybe for people living in the UK. There's a lot more sets released in that country. I buy a lot from the UK in particular, and I suppose the US as well. Maybe not to the same extent, but certainly there's more cards and stickers from pre-modern and vintage in those countries, so it's a bit easier. But for people down under like myself, it is tough to source this stuff. Obviously, it does help having UK and US shipping addresses that you can utilize to pick up some of these items. But yeah, I would say that the vast majority of my collection, probably 60-70%, is actually sourced from the UK, a good maybe 20 or so percent from the US, and then yeah, only a small percentage from Australia. And typically the stuff from Australia is more modern releases, which are easier to come by. But so yeah, access is an issue. It's a bit of a barrier to collect pre-modern and vintage. It's convenience as well. A lot on Facebook pages within Australia can pick up cards pretty comfortably, and it's much more difficult when it comes to pre-modern and vintage. Another barrier for collecting pre-modern and vintage is it's really about knowledge. I feel like with a lot of new releases that come out, people gravitate towards collecting numbered cards and case hits and autographs, all of which have their own rarity attached to them. So, for example, these Conor Gallagher um, orange prisms. I know their rarity. The first rookie prisms out of 25, the first year Chelsea's out of 15. I know exactly how many of those are made. So for me, I don't really have to acquire much knowledge to know of their rarity. Same goes for case hits. You know exactly how many case hits are pulled. You get a rough idea of their rarity. Whereas with pre-modern and vintage, there's no numbered cards, there's no case hits. And take this John Terry, for example. This is an unnumbered autograph card. Yes, it's on card, but for many new collectors out there who are unfamiliar with this set, they really wouldn't know what to value it, because there isn't that foundational knowledge of knowing that, for me, this is a hard to come by card. Very few pop up on eBay. I know that obviously it's on card, so it's great in that regard, but it's also, you can do research on this and actually find out that I think there was only about 100 of these made. There is a print run, yeah, it's not numbered, but we know that there was about 100 made of this very card. So that's where it comes into things where I feel like people nowadays, in a lot of cases who collect modern, lack a bit of knowledge in regards to sets, and they're very reliant on numbered cards, case hits, 130 point to understand card values, and sort of lack the knowledge of cards that have true rarity attached to them, not numbered. And yeah, and then that comes down to, I get the fact that people that who maybe don't have the time to research and dig into these older sets, they're much look forward to just relaxing when they come home from work and watching their break, or whatever it may be. But I do find real pleasure in going through and searching through checklists, looking at different sets, looking at different Instagram pages, getting inspiration from them, learning from other collectors, and yeah, just putting in quite a lot of hours in understanding cards' rarity and what I believe they're worth. And another example here is a fairly harder to come by binder card from Merlin Premier Gold 97, 98. I picked this one up kind of recently. I actually bought from Norway, which is it's kind of exclusive to Scandinavian binders, and I actually picked up a second one of these quite recently, and I got it on auction for a very good price. And I think Premier League collectors maybe just don't understand the rarity of this card, and that all comes with time, with experience. But I think that's a sort of a barrier in that people aren't really willing to learn. They're not willing to put in the hours and the time to find out more about older sets and understand rarity. And I fully get why people are skeptical of buying pre-modern and vintage. I think prices have dropped since the boom, and there's been certain cards that are maybe have been seen as being way more common than originally thought. So it is tricky, but it's just taking some time, doing some research, and this is a prime example of that. This Bosnich card, this is a case card that came, I think, in Scandinavian cases. As you can see, it's an extra large card. It's bigger than the normal card in that set. Different image, has no gold embossed logo or name to it. It's got different numbering, as you can see there. It's C2, and this one's numbered 11 out of the set. So it's a very rare case card that I picked up for like $5 in Australia, and yeah, just people don't know about this card, but it's really rewarding picking up something that's rare and under the radar. And yeah, I think these sort of purchases appeal to me a lot more than picking up numbered cards from recent sets. So yeah, it's the knowledge, it's the willingness to learn. It's a bit of a hard grind, but I've been really impressed with being on Discords and seeing other people's knowledge on collections, and they may have not only been in the space for only a year or two, but you can acquire some high level knowledge on a lot of sets, and it's pretty impressive to see a lot of knowledgeable collectors in Discord pages and that sort of thing. And the final point I want to discuss is another barrier is legend cards in recent sets. Now, I did a poll recently where I looked at what are people most looking forward to in modern product. Is it rookies, which was about, I think people voted about 25%. Was it established stars of the current day, which I think was an even smaller percentage. And then there was legends. We're talking, retired players, but also guys like Messi and Ronaldo who are not playing in Europe anymore. And over 50% said legends, which I get that. Obviously I'm a huge fan of lots of the legends of the past, but it's a bit concerning that I feel like this is a bit of a barrier in which people are getting this nostalgia hit through buying legend cards. They're not going for pre-modern and vintage because they're already, they feel as though their collection is already established because they're getting these names in recent sets. Take this for example. We've got Bobby Charlton, an amazing player. Here's all some of the playing days cards that I have of him, and then if we flick over, yeah, he's got some post playing days cards, as you can see. But for me, I would always gravitate towards the playing days cards, and I just feel that with so many modern sets being released, Topps and Panini have really cottoned on to the fact that, okay, legends sell. People are all over Zidane, Ronaldo, Messi. The list continues. Beckham, for example. I mean, here's a few Beckham cards here. These are playing days cards. Some of these are quite hard to get hold of. Take this blue parallel from Topps Premier Gold 2001. Hard to find parallel, and yeah, beautiful die cut, cool looking inserts. But there's Beckham, I think Henri as well. They're just being rolled out in pretty much every set nowadays, and people are gravitating towards those cards as opposed to some of their playing days cards. So that's why I feel like legend cards are great. I love them. when they were released, but I feel as though, you know, when they were released back in the day, back in sort of the 2000s, mid 2010s in Premier League sets. But nowadays, I just feel like they're overdone. There's too many of them. I think there's definitely a collector base for them. Like if I were to scroll up, go over to my Lampard cards page, of course I collect, as you can see, some of the modern parallels of Lampard. So there's definitely a place for them, but I just feel as though people should look to they're playing those cards as a priority. I feel as though modern numbered cards of Legends are a bit of a luxury item. I don't think they hold up in in the future compared to some of their playing days material. So that's just my take, and they're my sort of four main barriers for collecting pre-modern and vintage in the current space. Hopefully this video inspires collectors to go out, pick up some of the modern stuff, but also don't forget about the pre-modern. Do a bit of digging, bit of research, and pick up some really cool older cards of some of their favorite players. So thanks for watching this video, guys, and I will see you for the next one.